Hi, this is Osman. I am a master level energy healer with telepathic capabilities, specializing in terminal illnesses and critical care recovery. I'm also an advanced level yoga and meditation teacher. Be sure to visit my website yogawellness786.com for more information on my services. And also understand my therapies are all natural based and not a replacement for medical treatment. If you have a medical condition, be sure to consult with a qualified and licensed medical professional in your locality. So today I want to discuss the following of a balanced approach when you are delving into the yogic sciences from a health and wellness perspective, right? So it is important when you are practicing yoga that you also balance your nutrition. You have nutritious foods, in your diet, and the reason for nutritious foods is because as you are advancing in yoga and developing your spiritual energy, it takes a lot of energy from you. It burns the energy at a much faster rate than normal people. It almost feels like you're going to need around 10 times more energy than regular people. And where's the energy going to come from? Not going to come from the air and the sun. Yes, I mean, very advanced level, you can absorb energy from the trees and the air and the sunlight and so forth. But I mean, you are developing, you're still like a normal person. You need to get it from, wholesome, nutritious food. So we're not saying go and, abandon your diet, but to whatever your diet is, slowly start including whole natural foods like a Mediterranean diet, right? Like there's a lot of salads, a lot of fresh fruit and nuts, and try to have a lot of variety. So I'm not saying go and become a vegetarian and so forth, but try to increase, and then you'll have, in order to make space for all these foods, you need to decrease, your normal diet, right? Not eliminate it completely, but do it gradually. And would I recommend taking supplements? Especially when it comes to, depends on the level, of your development. If you, on a very, on a low level, so whatever you used to doing, don't change it. But slowly you will find you no longer have a need for supplements if you're getting all your nutritional requirements from wholesome natural foods. So there's a scientific statement that it is impossible for someone to get all the nutrients that he needs, from any possible diet. The only way that you're going to get all your nutrients that is required for your daily maintenance of your body is if you supplement. And if you don't supplement, the amount of calories that you need to consume, I think there was a study that showed that to have sufficient of every possible required nutrient on a daily basis, you need to consume around 27,000 calories. Putting all the foods together, it works out to about 27, and it's impossible. Or for regular people to consume that amount. The average person can consume between 2 to 5,000 calories, where professional athletes are consuming between 4 to 5,000 calories, and the average person is consuming around 1,500 to or 1,200 to 2,000 calories. So the standard diet recommendation is around 2,000 calories, where you're getting an average amount. You're not very sedentary. You get an average amount of exercise, like an average of 15 to 20 or 20 to 40 minutes of walking. For instance, if you're not doing gym or body fitness or strength training, resistance training exercises and so forth. So you need to have a balance also with exercise, because you need to move your body, because there's toxins in your body and your muscles will start to atrophy if you become too sick. You can't be sitting and meditating all these hours and not be moving around. You need to strengthen your muscles, do some type of strength training, some type of yoga exercises alone is insufficient, right? So because you will start to become extremely atrophied in your muscles and lose a lot of muscle mass. You need to maintain your muscle mass, because you're going to be aging and you don't want to become disabled and in need of crutches and can't walk up a set of stairs as you're getting older and so forth. So you need to also exercise, you have nutrition, and importantly, have sufficient hydration, as well as have 7 to 9 hours of sleep. This is a non-negotiable. No matter what level you are, you feel you got all the energy. And this is what happens in yoga. You feel you have so much of energy and you can stay awake and you can push and you can do so much, but you are killing yourself. You are, making yourself prone to chronic ailments, and you're not feeling it. You're feeling that you are very strong, but this is a false positive, because you are more connected to your ethereal body and you start losing the information or the connection or the complete connection with your physical body, because you are withdrawing your consciousness to higher levels of consciousness, and now you're mixing everything up. And because your ethereal body is so much stronger and you're connected now with an awakened ethereal body that is so strong, so that feeling of strength is coming from that ethereal body, not from your physical body. But your physical body, due to lack of sleep, is deteriorating, and you're going to wonder how come you are eating an amazing diet, you're exercising, you're doing yoga, you're doing your meditation, breath work. How come you got diabetes? How come you got a heart condition? How come you got high blood pressure? How come you're getting sick? You should not be getting sick because you feel so strong, but your body is failing because you're not sleeping enough as well, right? This is one big mistake that people make, purely because they feel amazing and a lot of energy. So as much as you can't sleep at night and you're feeling so energy, find a way to get into the habit and make yourself to sleep. And eventually, your circadian rhythm, will kick in and you'll start feeling sleepy and you'll be able to sleep naturally. Then you'll wake up in the middle of the night, that you can't sleep. Don't start scrolling in your phone and social media. Leave it aside, just close your eyes and try to go back to sleep, and learn to discipline yourself to stay in bed and try to sleep until it becomes habit that you're sleeping the 7 to 9 hours, preferably 9-10 hours, to be safe, right? And if emergency and your schedule is so busy, not less than 7. So this is very important for you to balance. Now, coming the topic, I've spoken about having this balance on many videos, but there's something else which is important. There is a saying that, and it originates from the Bhagavad Gita, and I agree with that statement, that yoga is not for him who eats too much, nor is it for him who eats too little. Yoga is not for one who sleeps too much, nor is it for one who sleeps too little. So they don't say how much is too much sleep and how much is too little sleep. They don't say how much is too much food and how much is too little food. How do you know you're eating too little and how do you know you're eating too? This is where science comes in. So science tells you should be sleeping 7 to 9 hours. If sleeping less than that, yoga is not for you. It's going to weaken your body, and as you go into higher levels of spirituality, your body will not be able to endure it, and you will it will start failing, and you will start getting sick, extremely sick. And as you're going higher, you will probably have an early demise. You'll wonder, so many advanced yoga practitioners or people who are so advanced in yoga and meditation, how come they died so early? Let's give some 2 typical examples which is famous, right? Swami Vivekananda, who brought yoga to the West in a talk in the United Nations, I think it was in 1902. He died in his early 40s, I believe, 41 or 42 years old. How come? He looked like a strong man and he's very advanced, right? But he didn't practice, the sleep practice. He didn't practice hatha yoga, and he wasn't, he just went into meditation only, right? He neglected the other parts, of breath work and a healthy, nutritious diet, wholesome diet, and exercise, right? Yeah, when you see some of his pictures, he had a big, a belly, right? A protruding belly, and means not, his muscles are weak in his abdominal. His core is not strong to keep it, you know, firm and flat, because you need to have flat. If you're practicing Hatha Yoga, the very first on the basic posture called Paschimottanasana, or the head to knee posture, you're bringing your forehead down to your knee and you're touching your forehead on your knee with your legs outstretched. I mean, eventually as you practice, if you have a big belly, you cannot do it. You even if you manage to pull your head down, you're flexible enough to touch your forehead on your knee, you will not be able to breathe if you have a big belly. So your that posture will tell you whether you're eating too much or too little. It is. I love that posture, because sometimes I enjoy certain foods and so forth, and I really, I have a voracious appetite, by the way, and I, eat because I eat well. You need to have strength, but then I see that this posture is becoming difficult, then I know it's a bit, I need to cut back a bit. So it is like an automatic gauge, that particular posture, Paschimottanasana, or the head to knee posture, is a very good posture to control, to tell you whether you're overeating or undereating, right? So in terms of undereating, I can't give much advice on that, because I always had a good appetite. If you are practicing Hatha Yoga and breathwork, your energies are balanced. So when your energies are balanced, especially the digestive fire, the solar plexus chakra, the solar plexus energy center is balanced, because all the energy centers are balanced. If that, you will have a healthy appetite. It's natural. You'll be feeling hungry. You won't be like eating like a bird, because you have an appetite like a teenager. And that's what I have. I'm now currently 56 years old, but my appetite is like a teenager. I don't know anyone who's got my level of appetite amongst my colleagues and friends. So maybe I got birds as friends, or people who eat like birds and imitating birds. That's a possibility. But I know a wide range of people. I mean, I'm teaching yoga and meditation to so many, students, and I haven't met someone, with my level of appetite. So I really love, eating, but I eat healthy foods, natural foods, and a variety of foods, and I'm careful on the quantities. I don't eat too little. I will eat a full meal size, and my plate is normally, bigger than the normal person, because I have so much of variety, and I make sure I also have fruit, and I also have nuts, and I find that my energy consumption is much higher than regular people. It is not recommended for someone to consume too much of fats, but I need to have a lot of natural fats, and I get it from nuts, and it doesn't really affect me in terms of becoming overweight. And I consume, I think, in terms of nuts, about 2 to 300 grams of nuts per day, right? About 2 kg, of nuts per week, right? Up to that. And sometimes I come down to, depending on, the other foods that I'm eating. If I'm having sufficient nutrients in other fruits and healthy fats and, the avocado, pears, and plenty of other vegetables, and, I'm feeling full and I eat well, then my requirement for the nuts is not so much. So I normally buy nuts in bulk from a wholesale supplier, and I buy 10 kg bag at a time. So, and when I'm buying groceries, and foods, and I'm purchasing it online from a very reputable store, that has both very good quality, known for its quality, not the best of quality, but they pride themselves in having good quality, right? Good quality and choice of vegetables, not the cheapest or the worst quality. I'm very satisfied with the quality of the vegetables, that I order online. So I order, a lot of cruciferous vegetables. This is very wholesome and very nutrient dense. So the cruciferous vegetables, which are very common throughout the world, is cauliflower, broccoli, cabbage, spinach is not a cruciferous vegetable, but a very close family, from the leafy greens, and it's possible to get them in all. Sometimes I try to get kale; it's not so easy to get it, but kale is amazing nutriently there. So if I've got my cruciferous vegetables, I'm satisfied, right? And then I buy the other items and so forth, and I have a lot of flax seeds. So I have a minimum of about, I would say, a quarter to half a cup of flax seeds that I, have in the Dr. Brooke Goldner protocol, on a daily basis. And so that is giving me sufficient omega-3s and fats from there. So, and protein as well. It's got 26 grams of protein per 100 grams of flax seeds. And in nuts also has around 20 to 26 grams of protein per 100 grams of nuts. So if I'm consuming around 200 grams of nuts, I've got 52 grams, around 50 grams of protein, and around 50 to 100 grams of between quarter to half, let's say minimum of quarter cup of flax seeds. So it's about 50. So I'm getting at least another 25 grams. I'm getting 75 grams of protein just from my nuts and seeds, right? So all I need is an additional 25 more grams to get an average of 100 grams of protein from plant sources. So that I'm getting from all the vegetables and the fruit they have minute quantities of protein, but I'm consuming a large variety of them, right? And I'm having a minimum, I would say, of 4 meals a day, sometimes 5, out of hunger, right? I like to have just 1 meal a day, but I'm starving to death, and I eat when I'm hungry. And even if I'm not hungry, especially my nutrient dense foods like my green smoothies and so forth, I pack it in, right? I pack it in, maybe it's like after 4 or 5 hours, I have my, shaker bottle, 600 ml full of, a green smoothie that's thick and rich, right? I try not to put too much of fruit. I add oranges and lemons, the citrus fruits. But lemons cuts the bitterness of some of these vegetables, and orange gives it a good citrus flavor. So it's a flavorful and also a bit that mixture of that sour and tangerine flavor. It's amazing. And also, raw garlics are extremely potent in terms of boosting your immune system and killing all the harmful bacteria, and maintain a healthy gut biome, right? I normally consuming around 4 cloves of the regular size garlic, or you get the much larger cloves, right? I have minimum of 2 of that, every day. And I make my herbal teas that are non-caffeine, herbal teas and I make sure I put in a stick of cinnamon and a thumb size piece of ginger, and I smash it and I put it in the tea to have infusions, of the cinnamon and ginger. So this is basically, my standard diet. It's very important in yoga sciences, to have a variety of this food. So it is recommended that one consume at least about 30 different varieties from the plant kingdom, in addition to your, other. If you're having chicken, meat, fish, and so forth in your diet, so you don't have to focus so much on getting, such a high level of variety. But the variety in the fruit and vegetables also adds to your fiber and your healthy bacteria that comes from the different varieties, right? And also I make sure to have, mushrooms, the regular standard mushrooms that you get in the supermarkets, but I don't get them sliced, I get them whole, because I don't want, I don't want the inherent life force energy to be lost, from the foods. I want them whole, and sliced and cooked and eaten. So try to eat mushrooms at least once a week. So what actually happens as you're progressing in the yoga, you need a lot of energy, and you'll find that you need energy because it starts burning up, and your appetite will tell you that you need more food, or you start feeling hungry more, and it's just your body telling. If you don't have sufficient nutrition, you're going to weaken your body and you're not going to this thing. So I told you two examples of people that we mentioned, Swami Vivekananda, and also the other classic example is Paramahamsa Yogananda, right? Who initiated over 10,000 disciples, right? This is an amazing feat that he performed. Many, spiritual masters are very careful who they initiate, because they don't want to take all the negative karma from, their disciples and so forth. But Yogananda, he didn't worry about all that. He initiated over 10,000, right? And I know some very advanced level teachers, they only initiated like one, in the whole lifetime. And someone was extremely advanced, not known to, the international community, but honestly very advanced. He only initiated 12, right? And myself, spiritual initiation, hundreds, right? And I would like to have 10,000, initiates, no problem. Because what I found, all the negativity that I imbibe when I'm doing the energy healing, the negativity comes to me, the illness comes to me. But I'm able to burn it off in my meditation and my protocols, my yoga protocols. So I've got a very a good system and a variety of protocol mix. I've got the right mix that helps me to just burn off, a person's whole lifetime of, negative impressions that I'm taking on in minutes, right? In a 20-minute period, I can get rid of maybe 10, 15 people, all the people that I treat for that day. In a 20-minute meditation, I've cleared everything, right? So of course, there's some people with some serious baggage. And I mean, I'm not afraid to take the risk. And this is my duty. I'm doing my duty, right? This is my job. So Paramahamsa Yogananda passed away, I think in his 50s, right? Which is very young, right? And it's said that I mean, he never performed Hatha Yoga, right? He just performed the Kriya, and he spent a lot of time only in meditation, right? He used to spend 8 hours, long hours. They didn't exactly say how many, but I think I estimate between 6 to 8 hours a day, he spent in meditation. And sometimes when he had time, he spent, like 10, 12 hours, a day in meditation. That is possible. And he focused mainly on meditation, right? And also you'll see some of their photos of Yogananda. He's got a pot belly, or a big belly, right? And means he's not doing squats, he's not doing crunches, he's not doing push-ups, he's not his muscles are not firm. So he neglected his exercise component, he neglected the Hatha Yoga component, and likely the sleep component as well, because many of these people, they feel that they start writing and giving talks and just sleeping 3-4 hours a day, and this is not good. So be careful, be balanced, make sure 7 to 9 hours of sleep, having at least 70% of wholesome foods from the plant kingdom in your plate, right? On a daily basis, right? So 70% of your food must be from wholesome, natural, plant kingdom, plant, fruits, nuts, legumes, lentils, family, right? Wholesome food. And the rest, I mean, is up to you, the other 30%. So, I mean, you can have your piece of steak and enough salads, and, or maybe your steamed broccoli and your veggies and some, amazing, herbs and leaves, in your salad that is raw, right? And you can garnish with squeezing a lemon, over it, instead of using artificial dressings. And I mean, if you try to reduce processed foods as far down to 20% of your diet. Try to keep 80% of your foods unprocessed. So your chicken, your meats, your fish, in its wholesome form as opposed to a processed form from a box. Anything that comes from a box is processed, right? With preservatives, anything with preservatives. So hope that information helps you, and take care always.